out a bigger basket. Oh my gosh, I am pulling off all of the last of the tomatoes off of this plant here. There's just a couple more. I think I might even pull them. Just a couple more green tomatoes on the plant. But I'm actually really getting ready to transition into the, oh, there's a bug on me. Transition into some of the fall garden elements. This time of year, right around mid-August, is when I start to take real steps toward transitioning the garden into the fall garden, which is kind of hard to believe, but I find that if I can get it started, even though it is still pretty warm out, it just helps me to get a jump on things. And then I have nice big plants that can overwinter easily and have a really easy time doing that. So I think I'm actually just gonna pull the last of the tomatoes off of this trellis, and then I might take out all those tomato plants today. Might just do it. Once they start blushing like this, they really do ripen well on the counter. This one's a little greener than I would normally pick it, but because there's like only one left, I'm just gonna pull it anyways. So this is exciting. If you've been following along, I did go ahead and top these tomato plants just about a week or two ago. So I just cut off all the suckers on the top, and that really forced the plants to ripen all of those tomatoes that I just harvested. It really pushed the plants ahead. And then what I did was I actually came in, you grab it, and I cut off a bunch of the other suckers. So I took like nice big, well, you can see them like nice big tall suckers. I cut them all off, and then I just have them in a bucket of water here, and I'm going to actually root them so that they will go ahead and, you know, sprout roots off their stems. All you have to do is stick your tomato suckers into some kind of water. This 5-gallon bucket is working well because I have these big suckers, and they will sprout roots in a couple weeks. And then what I'm thinking I'm going to do is just go ahead and plant these and have a whole, hopefully, second round of tomatoes in the fall. We'll see how it goes. I've got this area along the fence where I've been growing cucumbers that just isn't doing super well. Honestly, my cucumber struggles have been continuing this year. Like, there's one cucumber on there that I've got to harvest, but it just has become a mess. It doesn't look good. The cucumbers are struggling. They're blooming, but they're not really producing a lot of fruit. There's a few. I'm gonna let them kind of go for another couple weeks here while I let the tomato suckers root. And then once the tomato suckers are good to go, once they've rooted, I'm actually gonna plant them along this fence line. This area gets great morning sun and obviously full sun once you get to the top of it. So next year, I think it might be a really great place to grow like a lot of my summer tomatoes right along this fence. I can easily tie them to the fence and kind of stake them up. So I thought this fall garden and this fall crop of tomatoes would be a really good opportunity to test this out and just see if they grow well there. I can, you know, it's not going to be a full test because things are a little different in the fall. Things don't usually grow so fast because we do have, shorter days, and some stuff, temperatures and stuff aren't always perfect. But I thought it would be at least interesting to kind of test out growing them along this fence line, and then it'll leave a little bit more space in the garden bed for some other things, because I found that planting these really tall tomatoes in the raised bed ended up shading like a good half of the raised bed, and in a teeny tiny garden like mine, it's hard when you start having things being shaded like that, because sun is a precious commodity, space is a precious commodity. So that's the plan for the tomato suckers. I'm just going to leave them in that bucket and let them root, and then once they're ready to go, I'll rip out these cucumbers and I will plant them in there. And these tomato plants now can be done. I harvested all the tomatoes off of them. They weren't even producing any more really viable fruit because it's been so hot out. All the flowers are just sort of dying on the vine, and with the big slicer type tomatoes, I have trouble with the flowers actually turning into fruit when it's so hot out. I've shared the Juliet tomatoes a million times, but they are doing lovely. They are still producing fruit. They could care less that it's hot out. They've reached the top of the trellis. Like, they're doing great. So they're staying, they're gonna stay on the trellis. I'll have lots of tomatoes coming in from them. So that's nice. There's just fruit all over this plant. Like, this plant is just loaded with these little saladette sized tomatoes. So no worries there. There's still plenty of tomato harvest, but this will free up a lot of space and also shed a lot more sun on like my sunflowers that I have right here and some of the plants that I've got. I've got some pretty flowers in the front of this bed. Like, there's some Kufia, there's these incredible sunflowers, some Angelonia, and it'll be nice to get these plants out of here and get some full sun on the bed. So I think I'm actually gonna go grab, I wasn't really planning on doing this, but I'm gonna do it today. I'm gonna go grab my clippers and probably just clip them off at the base and then remove, just remove those stems for now. And then I'll amend and start probably planting into the ground pretty soon. Like early in this week, it's still really hot out. We have, it's like the real feel is like 100 today. It's pretty hot. And the next couple days it's right around there, but then towards the end of the week and looking into next week, it actually looks like things are going to start cooling down a little bit. We're getting more into like the 80s. Right now it's in the 90s Fahrenheit. And so I think I am going to bring out my, like, I have a bunch of plants that I started inside for the fall garden, some mustard greens, some kales, some things like that. They're just getting big. Honestly, I adjusted my grow light system from the spring and it did well. I made adjustments that have worked really well, which is amazing, but all my fall crops grew a little bit faster than I was expecting. So everything's like ready to go, kind of ready to get out. So I'm going to bring that out and start hardening it off in the shade and getting it used to these temperatures, and then hopefully start planting out some of those real true fall crops pretty soon here, which is also super exciting. Okay, I'll go get my clippers and get these out of here. Wow, what a hole that leaves in the garden. It's so crazy when you take something like that out. It just, oh my gosh. But this is also a good thing because there is more space now for my fall crops, which I have some collard greens and some mustard that I want to get planted. And so I am going to go ahead and plant those in there once I get them hardened off. And that'll be really good to get that started. And actually this will be freeing up some more sun for, I have like my bunching onions and some just like bush beans. And so that'll be good because that'll free up a lot of good sunlight for them. There's even some basil in there that I forgot about. So there you go. Now just one more thing to prepare for the fall garden is I want to plant just a couple more squash. It's technically squash and cucumber. So I have these dark cucumbers. These are kind of like more of a bush style cucumber, so that'll be nice. I'm gonna put them in a grow bag that I've got just to see if I can get a couple fall cucumbers. How many days to harvest? Does it say? I don't think it says on here, but that'll be nice. And then I also have these yellow scallop squash, 50 days to harvest, so I think I still have time that I could get them going. And I'm also gonna stick like one of these in each of the grow bags that I have some butternut squashes growing in. So I have a butternut squash, and I'm just gonna put like on the side one of these and see if I can get them to grow together. Hopefully it won't be too much, but I'll definitely feed them a lot. Super key when you're planting like higher density to make sure you are feeding the plants. So let me show you the grow bags where these are gonna go. I'm going to write out labels. So I'm trying to get back into doing labels for my plants. I kind of fell off labeling things this year, but I gotta get back to this. So I'm gonna write out their plant labels and I'll show you. So we have this big 15-gallon grow bag, and I've got some eggplant in here. you can see these cute little eggplant plants. And then I planted in, these are the, I think these are the Gilbert Englisher custard squash again. And this is why I am now going to be labeling things better. And I'm gonna throw a couple cucumbers in the side and just see. Hopefully that'll be enough space. It's a little bit tight planting, but just in case. I'm just gonna try. And then I have to water everything. It's midday right now, so I've gotta give everything some water, but I'm gonna put one more squash in this grow bag and then one squash over here in this grow bag where I have my ground cherries, because those are gonna be probably finishing up at some point here, and I wanna have that second round started. And then I'm going to water this poor little eggplant. Obviously needs some water, so I will water him next. Okay, it's getting really hot now, so I'm gonna go inside and take a break. But we officially have the fall garden started. As I said, I'm gonna bring out my other crops soon. I'll give you a little update on what my plans are as far as where all those are going to go, and what I'm doing with those fall plants and how I'm hardening them off, that whole schedule. I'm gonna do a whole other video all about that. I'm breathing hard because it is hot. Oh my gosh, and I am almost 8 months pregnant. I'm due in October, so I'm getting closer and closer to that due date too. So this fall garden has some extra special meaning this year, which is kind of sweet and kind of special. I know I'm planting things that hopefully I'll be harvesting around the time that my second baby girl is coming, so that's kind of fun. But anyways, we got one big job done. I'm gonna go rest inside after I water the garden. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye-bye.